We're talking about the 3 most common errors that we see in rowing and CrossFit, and we're going to address them today. Make sure that as we move forward, especially towards competition, you guys know how to correct it. Make sure that we address those power leaks and make sure that you're nice and strong and efficient on this machine. So first common issue, and we've all seen this, is the early back opening in the stroke. Now this can materialize in the form of a really vigorous hip swing as the first movement of the stroke, or the fact that your back just gets locked in place and you never see the back swing at all. So Dave, what does that look like for us? All right, so there's that early back pull. So that's option number 1, or 2, and that there's just no back movement at all. So he's just taking a stroke with legs and arms leaning back into it. How many times have we seen this? All right, now what's important to talk about is the hips drive a major power center for us as we move through the stroke. In both of those equations, we're missing a lot of that hip drive. One, because the back wasn't really engaged, and in the first, the back wasn't really engaged. You saw a lot of rounding happening, and in the second, there was just no hip swing at all. That back was locked in an open angle. So what we're going to look at and how we're going to fix that is we're going to come up the slide to the catch. And we're going to make sure that we have really strong posture, and that as we start to move through the stroke, we engage by driving the legs down first. As the legs get close to finishing, then we're going to kick our hips in to continue momentum and help us finish the stroke. So go ahead and put those two together now. We're going to come up, he drives his legs, and then kicks his hips open, giving us a nice continuation of momentum. Go for it. Perfect. Now notice, his back was not the first thing to go. If the back opens first, now we're missing out on our legs. So we're not going to be able to get the legs into the equation. He almost feels like he's falling off the machine. So we need to make sure that we kick the legs down. Once the legs are about to finish, then we kick the hips open, giving us that power center through the hips. And finally, we snap in with the arms. So go ahead and show us 4 or 5 strokes, how that looks nice and clean. Legs drive, good. Good, give us a little bit more back opening. There you go. Beautiful. So you can see those legs and the hips work in harmony together, and that's what we want to create. Nice leg drive, followed by the hip opening and the back swing. Now make sure too that you keep that really nice posture. The instant that you start to break that posture, and a little shout out to Kelly Starrett on this one, the instant that posture breaks, you've lost it, right? You've lost that connection from the legs all the way up the chain to the handle. So the instant that this starts to happen, now we've lost our power, we've got that energy leak through the stroke, and that's not where we want to be. Second thing we want to talk about now, second biggest issue that we see is the early arm break. People using their arms to create tension. Now, I'm going to shout out to Coach Bergner here, but when the arm bends, the power ends. We all know that. Same applies to rowing. So if we come up to the catch here, Dave, come on up. If Dave instantly breaks his arms and starts to move through the stroke, now we've loaded up his arm and he's going to fatigue real quick. Same thing if we're in an overhead position. It's very hard to overhead squat a lot of weight if that elbow is broken. So at the catch position, we need to make sure that the arms are nice and locked out, and they stay locked out as he moves through the stroke. Only once that back swings open does he snap the arms in, only to snap them away again. We never pause at the body. We simply snap the arms in and push them away again. So go ahead and show them what that looks like, Dave. A nice stroke where Dave leaves those arms long and then snaps in at the end. He's allowing his body to suspend off of the handle, and that's the important thing to notice here. If he breaks that arm early, go ahead and start bending early. Good. 1, the stroke shortens, and 2, it's a lot more fatiguing to his body to suspend off of the handle. So a lot of you start to get that forearm fatigue, that bicep fatigue. That's what's starting to happen. Check that early arm bend. And it can be very minute too. Sometimes you don't notice it. Have somebody watch you as you go through it, and you'll be able to tell whether or not that arm is starting to break a little too early. Final thing that we want to address is the extreme layback and the pulling of the handle up to the face. We see this at almost every single competition, and I'm here to tell you that is not how you get length in the stroke. You can get long in 2 places, the front and the back, and it's not the back, so it's got to be the front. All right, reason being, let's go ahead and sit at that finish position, Dave. So sitting all the way at the back, right, we normally want to pull into our sternum, so a little bit higher than Dave's at right now. Perfect, right about there. Now if I have Dave continue to lay back, keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, hold out there for a second. Is this a strong position? No, go ahead and pull your hands over your face now. Good. Is that a strong position? Does this look like a strong position to anybody? No. We do not want to get to that position. It's not strong, right? We're creating inefficiency in our movement at that point. We need to make sure that if we're getting long, it's in compression at the front, because now we're grabbing tension on the chain, and that's what we need to do, is actually get tension on the chain. I dare you to get on a machine and show me how that is a strong position, laying at the back and trying to pull your handle past your face. We don't do that in any movement in CrossFit, so we're not going to start doing it on the erg. We need to get long in one place, that's up at the front. Dave, show us what a great catch looks like. Really nice compression. Good. His knees are just under his arms, right? They don't flare outside. They can be out a little bit, but he's not flared out too wide. He's got great compression now. His hamstrings are loaded up. His back's probably feeling pretty tight, and that's the compression and length that we want. All right, so those are the three big issues that we want to cover as we move forward, especially into competition season. Make sure that you guys are paying attention to those errors. Make sure they're not working into your stroke, and work with somebody to try and take care of that.